What's happening, all you minties? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today I get to do a video that was suggested by so many of my viewers for a few years now. But it is my overview of the absolute Batman Year 1 from DC Comics. So I guess it's a retro view. Stay tuned. And welcome back, everybody. So here is the retro view for the absolute Batman Year 1. And before I go any further, I want to give a huge thank you to Organic Price Books for sending us a copy of this absolute edition. So you have a very simple cover design here. On the spine, this is of course the back of the actual slipcase. Absolute Batman Year 1, the DC logo down here. Frank Miller, David Mazzucchelli, Richmond Lewis, who's the colorist, by the way. And then your one back here. Very plain, simple. Nothing really super stand-outish about the design of the slipcase. But I like that. Sometimes simplicity is best. I really like the names of the creators right there. They really pop out up against the contrast of the black and white. I like that. The actual books themselves are divided, and I said books, that's right, are divided in two. This kind of reminds me of the Crisis on Infinite Earths or the JLA slipcase or absolute editions where they're split up into two different books. But that's what you get here. Now, one thing I do want to make sure people know is most of these absolute editions, and I say most because there are rare cases, come inside of a cardboard box. So they're nice and safely secured and packaged in there. They all come sealed in plastic. There is a little leaflet included in all of them. And this is the latest printing. So this is the one that's $125. The original printing was $100. Now, getting the books out of the actual slipcase, nothing really internal there. But the books themselves do stand out. You have Absolute Batman Year 1, Miller, Mazzucchelli, and Lewis, in different colors. You have that orangey peach, it's peach color here on book 1, and book 2 has the yellow. And then the actual designs of the books are different. You have the Batman image here on book 1, and then the cover to 404 and 407 on book 2, including the ISBN. So this is a pretty interesting collection. $125, and it doesn't look like a lot of pages. Now, this is a pretty interesting presentation because we have Year 1 in Book 1 and Book 2. Book 1 has the newer restored colors and restored artwork and touched up artwork. Book 2, we're going to look through them and see the differences, is pretty much a scan of the comics blown up in absolute format size. Now, we're going to open it up with Book 1 and talk a little bit about the story because on my channel I know we did an it's one of our oldest old reader new readers on this particular story. I think most people probably know what Batman Year 1 is, but we're going to basically focus on the artwork and then look at a comparison with book number 2 because it's practically the same book, different extras of course. So, before I do get started, which he also used for Daredevil, the Omnis, which of course were Frank Miller's Omnis, the first printing of those. And I actually like those. I know some people can't stand those, but I actually think they're really cool. They remind me of manga. All right, but let's take a look at Book 1. All right, cracking open Book 1. Now, the Mazzucchelli pieces all over this book. Absolute Batman Year 1. Absolute Batman Year 1 again. Written by Frank Miller, art by David Mazzucchelli, colors by Richmond Lewis, letters by Todd Klein. Slipcase cover art and original series covers by David Mazzucchelli and Richmond Lewis. And of course, Batman created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane. So we have an introduction, but these are just introductions that they've used in the past for several collections. This is from Dennis O'Neil in 1988, and then you have one from Frank Miller in 1988. Batman Year 1, I remember being one of the trade paperbacks, one of the collected editions, one of the graphic novels that you would see at comic book stores and bookstores. Long before the age of what we have now, the collected edition age, we didn't have that many books in trade paperback format, let alone hardcover or omnibus editions or epics or masterworks. I take it back. Masterworks started in the late 80s. But that was a crazy time to think about. We had single issues, and that's pretty much how most of us got to read these stories, going to a comic book store and trying to find these single issues. So a friend of mine had a copy of Batman Year 1, the trade paperback, that was beat up, and he had it for a couple of years, and I was getting huge into Batman, mainly because of Death in the Family, and I read it and I fell in love, so I had to go and find the single issues. So what exactly is Batman Year 1? Well, it is exactly what you think it is, with a title like Batman Year 1. It starts off on January 4th with a new detective. This is Detective Gordon coming in from Chicago, meeting up with this guy right here. This is Detective Flass, picking him up at the Gotham City Central, because he's starting his new job under Commissioner Loeb as a detective in Gotham City. Now, this is also the return of Bruce Wayne to Gotham City. And yes, it does come with a ribbon. Love it. Not just book 1, but book 2. Bruce Wayne has been gone for 12 years after the death of his parents. They were shot and killed in front of him, and he left to go and train to come back and be a one-man vigilante force against the evil that corrupts Gotham. And that is the story of Batman Year 1. It is the life of Bruce Wayne becoming Batman and Detective Gordon, that will eventually lead him to become a captain and, of course, become commissioner. And both of their lives are going to cross paths in this year. And if you've not read this, this is a masterpiece. It's one of the best comic origins, if not the best comic origin out there. So much so that to this day, most of this is still canon for a book that came out in the late 80s. Most of this is still canon. Crisis on Infinite Earths wiped everything clean, gave us a clean slate for new origin stories and character backgrounds, and that's exactly what Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli did. They came in and decided to just revamp and retell the story of Batman in his first year. Of course, it wasn't that easy to get them to come in and do it. This is such a powerful story that they still use it for movies. They still use a lot of this for the movies, whether it's Batman summoning the bats to get out of a situation with the police officers, whether it is Batman interfering the Falcone family, or just the relationship between him and Gordon. Running into not only Selina Kyle, but also Holly right there. And then just coming up with excuses of how he gets his bruises, how he gets hurt. Bruce Wayne, of course, because he's getting hurt at night playing the role of Batman. But it's a wonderful story that has aged so damn well. And it's interesting to see that he wrote this and what is known as the bookend of Batman in Dark Knight. So this one right here and this book have 224 pages together. And at $125, it is expensive. That's the retail price. So this book has to mean something to you. I can't imagine people that are like, oh, I want my first Batman book to try out. I've heard great things about this Year 1. Going out and buying a book that's $125. Well, I don't know. Then again, I do know some people that have joined recently the collected editions group and have bought really expensive books without reading them. But it is really cool to look at it in this format. The paper in this particular book is this thick matte paper that they're using, so it's not glossy paper compared to what they've used in the past for this particular release. They've used glossy paper, but it's even different than the paper stock that they use here. This is a thinner, it's got a slick finish to it, but this is my 2005 copy. So extras in the back here are different than the extras in the back of book 2. You have house ads, you have sketches, you have original artwork from David Mazzucchelli up there, his first Batman book, and submission pages that he sent out, and then character studies, because Bruce Wayne was based on Gregory Peck, which my wife found that out. I think they did Oh, it was the Patreon book club. They did year one, and somebody told her that, and she lost her mind because she has a huge crush on Gregory Peck, mainly because of To Kill a Mockingbird. But these are the type of extras in the back, and then you have the bios on the creators, including the extras for the trade paperback covers and the designs for the original trades, original artwork. Now, the big difference, of course, like I mentioned, is that this is practically the comics that you remember from the glossy covers to the newsprint type of paper that they're using, all the way to the colors, the credits. I mean, everything here feels like a comic book. And of course, the colors being a lot different than the touched up colors later on, since, like I mentioned, they've been using since 2005. I believe this is the only way to get the original colors. I mean, outside of the original comics or the old trade paperbacks. This is the only way to have it. And in this type of paper. It looks really aged. All the mistakes are in here. Even if it went to the printer like that, with a couple of scuff marks around some of the facial features or something, it's all in here. All the mistakes, including the letter pages. But the letter pages aren't from the particular issues. Like, this is issue 404, right, as you saw here. So Batman 404, even the ISBN number, everything is in there. And then the title page. But this is actually from Batman 408, and it's a reaction to the Batman Year One comic. So I wish they had kept the Batman 404 letter pages in here. And they're talking about starting year 2. But I get it, you have to have the reaction there. So all the letter pages are in here, like the reactions to year 1 and each issue as it went on. The covers, again, in the glossy paper, while the internal art is printed on this newsprint type of paper. Now, the extras, all the way in the back, are the complete scripts and layouts for Batman Year 1 by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. So you have the script, you have the layout, the thumbnail sketches, the inks, and it is, oh my gosh, some really cool extras. I don't know if the deluxe edition has that or not. I don't think it does. I think it just has the sketchbook that is in book 1. But this has the entire script and art for all of year 1. Again, both books, 224 pages with some memorable images. Now, we're going to look at the color differences. Let's just get this one here. And you're not going to have page numbers in a table of contents, by the way. Context, what the hell? Uncanny Omar talked pretty one day. Contents. You have the original pages. Because like I said, this feels like a blown up comic book. That's all it feels like. So, the cover, I want to say, let's just look at that. Because the cover that you get in this is just the textless covers. Or what some people call the virgin cover. So, you can even tell the different colors that they used. But again, this is the original cover that you got. You don't get a title page. You just get a quote from the actual book. But these are the differences here in the colors. This is the way, if you read it years ago, this is the way that you will remember it. And then this is the cleaned up style that they've used for reprints since 2005. I mean, not really a huge difference. I've seen a lot more colors touched up on. I mean, it's not Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. It's just cleaning up the colors. This feels a little more muddled with mistakes and just some roughness around it. Whereas this is clear, clean, and cut. And you can see the different characters. They're not all put like mashed up together because of the color sometimes. Then again, it helps because we have computer separation now. He's not as pink, that's Commissioner Loeb, as he is here. Or, I'm sorry, he's not pink like he is here in the original colors. But the other thing that's missing on this, that you're going to see here, says continued on the third page following. So there was an ad here, and the story would continue on to the next page. But the dialogue remains the same. The story hasn't changed. The artwork hasn't been altered. Even the violence stuff, it's all in here. The way that you remember the dialogue and the way that you remember the art. The violence, I guess. Not that there's that ton. But it's the colors that have been touched up on. And of course, this printed on thick matte paper. This printed on newsprint paper. And I just wanted to showcase the differences here. And this here also has a ribbon. Book 2 also comes with a ribbon. So it's not just book 1. Both books come with a ribbon. Nice. Binding on the books, identical. It is sewn binding. It's the Smith sewn binding. Not that you need an eye at all, but I just wanted to show that. I don't even know why. Because the book lays over really nice. It's just a big format book. Our cover, I was going to say, is there is no dust jacket. It's just art on board. And I showed off the designs earlier. But that's it. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this Absolute Edition. Let me know in the comments down below if this is the way you own it, if you have it in trade paperback, original comics, the deluxe edition, the hardcover from 2005 that I was showing. I would love to know how you own this masterpiece. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Check out our Patreon. We are on Patreon, and thank you so much to our existing patrons. Could not be making videos like this possible without you all. And everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.